7:30 Central African Time. Hello, Sunny Bonani. And it is a Tuesday, which could only mean one thing: the top tier of Breakaway League racing. My name is Bob O'Connor. I will be with you on commentary here throughout. It's race number 13 of a 16-leg season here, so we are well and truly into the sharp end, the business end of the season. The battle for the championship, the battle to try hang on to your place in the top tier. It's all heating up. And after today, well, it gets very, very interesting as far as those prospects are concerned. We've got a healthy field of drivers over here. After tonight, we have Mexico scheduled for Thursday night. And thereafter, the final two scheduled races for the top tier are Bahrain, that would be Tuesday, and then Imola. And then, don't you forget, there was the one race which had to be abandoned courtesy of lobby issues. That was Abu Dhabi. So, all things considered, including tonight, we have, well, 5 races for you. And as you see the countdown at the top of your screen, we have just a couple of seconds before we get into the first of 3 qualifying sessions. Thank you for joining us. Remember to like the stream, and I'm keen to hear your thoughts, your comments, your reactions on everything that takes place out here on track. It's the Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya in Spain. Crash, it's fantastic to see you in the comments. Who will get knocked out, not only of Q2, but indeed who will get knocked out of quali altogether? It is not going to be something that you want to miss at all.
Endoda ngathi zomshubela labo banqobe bakhona mara banqobe 4 points kabanga umuntu bottom of the table.
Yes, Ban Kobe, sadly for him, is bottom of the standings. He's racked up just 4 championship points. Hello, Kid K in the comments. Ban Kobe in deep trouble. He has been feeling confident in the build-up to this particular race, so perhaps he does feel that he could pull a rabbit out the hat and, put himself in prime position to claim some much-needed points. He's gained just 4 points since the start of the season. Damnesia is in 19th, just 5 points. S. Buddha is third from last. He's got 9 points. Remember, the bottom 3 get relegated automatically relegated down to tier 2. In P17 is Enlebo with 10 points. 16th is Cepiso. He's got 15 points. He's lost 1 position since the previous race. And in P15 is Mello the Mellow on 20 points. So Mello, Cepiso, and Enlebo currently mired in those playoff spots. They need them to... they're going to need a miracle as far as their prospects are concerned. Madla, Romeo, is teetering on the brink of falling into those playoff spots. He's P14, 22 points. King Rapture, Maripeng, is not yet seen out on track. He's racked up 32 points. He's 13th. Loveness is 12th. Donathan Laka, what a debut season for him. He's 11th. Tabo T92, comfortable in the top tier. P10 for him. Don Radico, one of the newest drivers to this field, has racked up 45 points. He's 9th. Tepo Temba, I don't see him. Yes, he actually is in the pit lane. Tepo Temba is 8th. D-Wax and Gawako is 7th. Zotile, the man that we're watching, is 6th in the standings. And as I say that, Josh, a.k.a. Damnesia, will make it an even larger field by the time the race gets started. So it's going to be very interesting. Zotile is 6th. Spence is P5 in the championship standings. Mex is P4. Caboza is P3. The 2 McLaren drivers doing very well. Caboza 119 points. Mex has 110 points since the season has started. And then, of course, the fight for the championship is between Cicle, who's racked up 202 points, and Smirch Jangle, 225 points. So it's very, very tight at the top. Crash wants to hear your predictions. I want to hear your predictions as we see Zotile navigate turn 2 with, relative ease, medium compound tires to start with. And that seems to be the choice for most of the field thus far. With just under 50 minutes of the session to go, he crosses that sector 1 split at about 22 or so seconds. So that is Zotile's relative pace. We will see how he fares compared to some of the drivers that will be following behind him. It's been a decent season for Zotile. He's definitely been finding his way back to his best form as he now attacks turn 9 with as much speed as possible down this back straight, opening up that rear wing for DRS extra speed. Kid K predicts it's going to be Django Seaclay, Donathan Laka, or Don Rabico perhaps, and Fensei making up the top 4 positions at the start of this race. Here comes Zotao, third and final sector. He now begins his entry into the final chicane without too much trouble. Looking okay, looking decent, will be the first to lay down that early marker, the early benchmark. Zotao crosses the line with a 120.617. Will be followed soon by none other than Ban Kobe. Even Loveness is here. Looks like we've got a fantastic full grid in prospect. He crosses the line 121.022. It's P2 for Ban Kobe. Is that Ngawako? Yes, it is. On mediums, quicker than Zotao. 20.204 for the AlphaTauri driver. Here comes. Is that an Alpine or a Williams crossing the line? No, it is neither. It's just a car making its way. It's Teppo Temba crossing the line to begin his first push lap. Meanwhile, looks like the champion, Seaclay, might be the furthest. He's the only Mercedes that is out running, and it looks like he did claim purple sectors in the previous 2, so he's looking good. The benchmark is that 20.204, carries as much speed as it possibly can through the final chicane, and 119.295 on mediums is not to be scoffed at. Beautiful effort by the champion. Is that Caboza or Mex? No, it is Mex who's just crossed the line to go P3, tucking in between Ngawako and Zotao. 120.224 on those mediums. We've got enough drivers to pretty much heighten the stakes here. Somebody will be getting knocked out. It's not going to be plain sailing for any of these drivers. Let's catch up now with Teppo Temba, making his way through the third and final sector. His sector 2 split was in the 52 seconds. He's on soft compound tires, not wasting time, not wanting to play around on mediums. He's going all out on his first push lap attempt. It may yet be the quickest. Not quite. So that time set by Seaclay is quite something remarkable indeed. He's still the quickest. Teppo Temba tucks right behind the champion, and he goes P2. Esbuda, is that him about to cross the line? No, sadly, the AlphaTauri driver has invalidated his attempt. Is this Josh, aka Damnesia, making his way through Sector 3? His teammate Mandla has come back into the pits, seemingly. So not smooth sailing for Mandla thus far. He did have troubles last time in qualifying, did Mandla. So not exactly looking too comfortable in the early stages of the race day, so to speak. On board now with Damnesia. Final sequences of corners. Sector 3 also on the mediums has a little bit of a moment in the third to last corner. This is the final corner for Josh, who will open up that rear wing, trying to carry as much speed as possible. 22.1, good enough for P7. So work to do for Josh in this here session. Fensei is next. The next driver that we will watch, his teammate Tabo T92, was on a lap, but he seemed to come all the way back. 22.571 is his split at the end of Sector 1. That being Fensei, less than 11 minutes of this quali session to go. It's a little bit of pressure now, considering that they're not going to have to coast their way through Q1, knowing that we have a reduced field. Not today. The season is really hurtling on towards its dramatic conclusion. And here comes Fensei to conclude his second sector with a 52.976. Turn 10 for the Red Bull driver is without incident. He took that through fourth gear and now goes down to third through turn 11. He's going to attack 12, carrying as much speed as possible. Third gear for the Red Bull driver, down to second to begin the final chicane. And, a little bit of a moment. Almost invalidated there. Was really toying with the track limits, but he tries to carry as much speed as possible down the main straight. 20.497 is going to be good enough for P5 for Fensei. Josh, aka Damnesia, has already crossed the line for a 20.574. So I believe this was the second push lap. He improves on his initial attempt. A lot of action all over the track. like Busta Rhymes said, paraphrased by none other than the late AKA in recent songs. This is Capoza, whose best effort before now was a 29.681. Definitely not representative of the pacey McLaren driver whose red light is flashing. So this is going to have to be a last chance balloon if he's still giving it a proper push. Wide of the apex of the initial part of that chicane. Here he comes now towards the line as you get a beautiful wing angle of the camera there. P5 improves by 9.3 seconds, tucks right behind his teammate Mex. So the McLaren's looking decent, looking pacey. They're up there in the top 5, considering that they started this first quali session on those medium compound tires. Let's catch up now with Donovan Laka, rookie who has looked very, very comfortable at this level. Donovan Laka missed the race in Canada last time out, but before that, he has managed to find a semblance of consistency, finishing 7th for 4 consecutive races from Japan all the way through to the feature race in Brazil. So Donovan Laka knows how to collect the points. It's a broader field this time out, but do not doubt him. He knows how to get the job done. Partnered, of course, with none other than the absolutely sensationally quick Don Ravico, who's back in the pits. Look at that. Donovan Laka goes top of the pops, 119.075 on those soft compound tires. A new standard as we now push towards the end of Q1. Loveness and Tapiso are moving hand in hand, giving each other a bit of a tow here. It's Tapiso ahead of Loveness. They're both on push laps, so Loveness is going to hope that he might go fairly quicker than his teammate. Will he is the question. The answer is not quite. Tapiso goes 4th quickest, and Loveness tucks right behind with a 19.849. It's P5 as Q1 has pretty much trickled down to about 7.5 minutes of running left to go. Let's catch up now with Tabo T92 as he has an almighty spin at turn 10, coming completely unstuck. And he's now going to have to nurse that RB18 all the way back home. Of course, Red Bull looking so ominous in real-world Formula 1. It was the case last year. It is the case this year again. Can Tabo T92 replicate that in this session? Well, time will tell. He's going to need to do a whole lot more. Now, remember, we had spoken about the likes of Ban Kobe, who's under pressure to put something decent together. He was one of the first to come out on track, was Ban Kobe. He's going to need to give it another go, possibly put on a set of soft compound tires, because that 121.022 is not going to be enough, not by any margin. Zotal is one of the few drivers giving it another go out on track, making his way now through the second sector. A man who's had a mixed bag of a season, sometimes qualifying really, really high up the pack, but then mistakes and sometimes clashes with the fellow competitors costing him valuable points here. But still, Zotal finding himself P6 will not be too displeased with that, but he is a fierce competitor. He's going to want a lot more than that towards the final results of this season, and as we look ahead towards a new Breakaway Racing League season in the coming months. But that's a long way away. We still have to navigate before we get too ahead of ourselves. 6 or so minutes of Q1. Zotal improves. Same set of mediums. He sets a 119.596. So improvement for Zotal, and it's the same situation for the 3-time champion, who's improved by more than 0.2, coming to the end of his second sector. Well, as it stands, Cicle on used mediums could yet leapfrog Donovan Laka to go quickest overall as we go towards the end of Q1, and the answer is yes. Improves on Donovan Laka by a couple of hundredths of a second on used mediums. Cicle looking ominously quick as we tick towards the conclusion of this year quali session. Don Rabico, what can he do? The answer is improve by 3 seconds by the time he gets to the end of the first sector. Now, coming through turn 10 without incident. Fourth gear through turn 11. We saw some drivers opted to go lower. He will take this slow sequence of final corners in fourth gear initially, down to third, to the final chicane. And he's going to look to line it up inch perfectly, carrying all that speed through the final corner, up towards seventh gear. He goes quickest by some margin. 118.202 is the benchmark for the day for Don Rabico. Meanwhile, the contender for the championship, the pretender to Ciclay's throne, none other than his teammate, Smirch Django, 22.472 is his Sector 1 split. Coming out of turn 4, trying to carry as much speed, as much menace, as much bite as he possibly can. We have 4 minutes left of this quali session. Smirch Django has yet to set a time. He may yet light it up completely as we count down towards the end of this year's session. Turn 9 now for the Mercedes driver is going to move wide and absolutely clear of the slow-moving Haas of Tapiso. He navigates turn 10 in fourth gear, looking solid, confident, carrying so much speed and really on the limit. He's not scared of those curves in this final sequence of corners here. Ooh, was that a little bit of a moment? The answer seemingly is no. He keeps it clean, carries so much speed. This may yet be the quickest time, but no. Don Rabico on 1 lap older, soft compound tires, is marginally quicker. Just 5/100ths of a second separates P1 and P2 Smirch Django. Nips ahead of his teammate and is also into the 1 minute 18. So, what kind of times will we be seeing towards the end here? Let us know, folks. Here comes Tabo T92 to give his initial attempts. Now, as it stands, Don Rabico is happy to retire his car. But as it stands, 2 of these drivers are going to get knocked out. Will it be Bankobi? Will it be Tabo T92? They're currently the bottom 2. Josh, aka Damnesia, is out on track, but he knows that he's not safe. He might yet be crossing the line, will Josh? And he did. It's P5 on fresh mediums for Josh. So he's out of the danger zone, meaning Fente, Esbuda, Capoza are probably not feeling quite safe. Capoza is on an outlap on medium compound tires, so that pretty much lets us know what his thinking is in the McLaren garage. Ciclay's a different animal, reckons Liddy in the comment section, responding to the sensational times that the champion has already put in on medium compound tires, it must be noted. But Tabo T92 is no longer playing the medium game. He just wants to push as much as possible. No more Mr. Nice Guy as far as Tabo T92 is concerned. He's just given it an almighty push here. And here comes now through the final sequence of corners. And it's all the way up to 7th gear across the line. Tabo T92 P13. Will he be feeling safe enough knowing that Esbuda, Fente, Bankobi are still giving it a proper push? Bankobi, meanwhile, has improved by almost a full second. Coming towards the conclusion, it's 1.2 seconds. That sends him up to P10. He should be safe. I would reckon 119.749. Breathes a huge sigh of relief, does Bankobi. But Capoza is off the track. He's on the brink of getting axed out of Q2 participation. Oh man, will Capoza have enough time? There's yellow flags that we just need to get out the way before he gets a sense. Capoza has 1 minute to get across that start-finish line before he has that final chance to go on a proper push lap. Meanwhile, Mandla is definitely out on his second push lap attempt. The best that he could do up until this point was a 119.982. He's definitely improved come the end of his sector 2. And Mandla, another man who's under pressure to get those points. Ooh, heavy on the curves there. How many tenths will that cost him? Mandla is only 14th in the championship standings, remember. He needs to get this passage safely through to Q2. Pushing it as Mandla, improved by 7 tenths. It's P5. Nips right ahead of Josh, aka Damnesia. So the teammates running P5 and 6 as the clock ticks down, bringing an end towards Q2. Here comes Capoza now across the line, knowing that this is pretty much a last chance saloon. But I think Kapoza may yet be safe, as Buda and Fence will be the two drivers knocked out of Q1, as Tapiso becomes the latest driver to retire safely in the comfort of the pits, knowing that the job is pretty much done. Kapoza was given it a final push on these medium compound tires. Let's see now whether or not he'll ease off, knowing that he is safely through to Q2 here. Yeah, it was looking a little bit iffy for the McLaren driver, even though he's been one of the more consistent participants. Has racked up 119 points, a solid points haul. Kapoza improving by 2/10 come the end of the second sector. He will be pretty much the driver to conclude proceedings here in Q2. Ngawako, aka D-Wax, is the slow-moving driver behind him, bringing out a yellow flag, and Kapoza has invalidated in the final sequence of corners, as has Ngawako, aka D-Wax, but he will be happy that he did put in enough work to guarantee his participation in Q2. He's happy just to retire out on track. Isn't Wacko? So, Don Radico is the man to beat, the time to beat the benchmark. 118.202 is the quickest time in Q1, followed closely by Smirch Django. Also on those softs, Sinclair went third quickest from Donathon Laka. Mandla and Damnesia went 5th and 6th quickest. Mex for Team McLaren, P7 in Q1. Tapiso safely through to Q2 in that 8th spot from Zotal in 9th. Tefo Temba in 10th. Ban Kobe is in 11th position. And as you can see, Loveness went 12th quickest. And Gawako, a.k.a. D-Wax, 13th. Tabo T92, 14th. And the final driver through to Q2 is Kapoza. Espuda and Fence sadly knocked out of the first qualifying session. It wasn't smooth sailing for everybody. Seaclay used just one set of medium compound tires, so he's got all those brand new softs to carry through to Q2 and 3. Looking very comfortable is the 3-time champion. Mandla went for mediums to softs. Damnesia did the inverse, soft to mediums for him. And Tapiso took a similar tire approach to Mandla. 3 sets of tires for Ngawako, a.k.a. D-Wax, but he will be happy that he didn't need to push too hard on those softs towards the end of Q1. Meanwhile, Fence, despite using 3 sets of tires, did not have enough in the bag to guarantee his progression through to Q2. Welcome to qualifying. We have Q2 up next. It's the top tier of Breakaway League Racing. If you've just joined us, you're just in time for that second of 3 qualifying sessions. Welcome to Barcelona. Welcome to Spain. Let's catch up now with some of your comments. Debo Croc reckons it's going to be Don Ramico, Sequay, Django, Fence, and Mex. That was, of course, before we got to the end of Q1. So Debo Croc surprised possibly by Fence's exclusion. And instead he made a correction that Kapoza would be tucked right behind Smirch Django. And Fundo says a solid pace by D Weezy there. And Liddy says getting knocked out on softs by guys on mediums is, going to be heartbreaking. It's going to be a sad state of affairs. It's the name of the game. Crash in response to that. Man Ray reckons we'll see times in the 1 minute 17.5 in Q3, the battle for pole position. Wouldn't that be something? Debo Croc responding to Fence getting knocked out, as was Liddy, barely believing that the Red Bull driver is alongside Esbuda in getting kicked out of that first quali session.
And I think ingathi zabashubela. Cabanga busihle babhizi ngama-medium lana. Basixhomela ngama-medium azangafaka ama-soft abusihle. Cabanga.
Yeah, Kabanga, indeed. It's quite a hectic state of affairs if the likes of Asifle can afford to, give us a taste of what is to possibly come. Was that Jago pushing at his absolute limit? Was that Don Ravico pushing at his absolute limit? We will see by the time we get towards the end of this qualifying session. No one wasting any time. Mandla is first out on track. Look at that. No one's wasting any time at all. Mandla banned Kobe straight out onto the track. Folks, looking like there's gray skies out here. I do wonder what the weather forecast is and whether or not we will be getting a little bit of rain. Perhaps Fensei can tell us. He was saying he was getting a bit too distracted, but we will see in the race. He's a bit bummed, but we move. Fensei, is it going to rain in this quali session? Everybody is out pretty much, well, at the starting gun here. Mandla not wasting any time. Ban Kobe tucked right behind him. And look at that. Just 2 cars left in the pits. It looks like Django and Ngawako. Or is that, it's one of the Hasses. It looks like Loveness is still in the pits. Loveness and Django. Oh, Mandla, turn 10. Huge spin. That's just going to give Ban Kobe pretty much a license. Just surpass him there. Mandla having a bit of a moment. And is that a spot of rain? Ban Kobe slowing down to let Mandla back past. Just trying to get our bearings straight. We need this full grid. Yet Charlie 3 Stacks, Charlie 3000 is welcoming the scenes that we're seeing here. Full grid. We absolutely need to see what they've all got when they're racing with each other with no margin for error. Here comes Mandla. He's going to be the first to say representative time. Turn 1, a little bit heavy on the curb there. Turn 2 is without incident. Fifth gear up to 6. Coming through turn 3 was tight onto the apex, but those lateral G-forces dragging that Alfa Romeo a little bit wide through turn 4. 22.484 as he begins turn 4. I beg your pardon. It was turn 3, the long looping right-hander that he was navigating back then. He is a little bit tight onto the core apex of that corner, but will not worry too much about that. Charlie 3 Stacks, the face of Breakaway League Racing, says Liddy, best track in the game. Charlie 3 Stacks enjoys himself around here. Does Mandla is the question. He exits turn 9 and cranks it up towards the final gear as he nails that braking zone. Sector 2 split is a 52.453 for Mandla. I do wonder what kind of split, what kind of times, what kind of efforts we're seeing take place behind Mandla. His teammate Josh following closely behind. Here it comes now into the final sequence of corners. There's yellow flag behind him. He'll pay no attention to that. Trying to get it inch perfect down towards the line. What will the early marker be for Mandla? Will cross the line 119.165. Just markedly beaten by his Josh, aka Damnesia. So Mandla not leaving anything on the table. The times are trickling in. Capoza is now the quickest person on track. Is that Don about to cross the line? No, it's Don Ravico. 18.504 is quite a scorcher of an effort. Cinque goes even quicker. 18.344 this time. So really no margin for error now towards the end of this second quali. Here comes Donathan Laka, tucks right behind his teammate. 118.659 is the new benchmark. Mex has just crossed the line. 119.243. Only good enough for P7 as things currently stand. Is that Temba coming towards the line? No, he came back into the pits instead. So Ngawako crossed the line for P9. 119.885 as Smirch Django has dipped out and back in to the lobby. Man, oh man, oh man. Tepiso is giving it another push, another go, so we'll catch up with him towards the end of his push lap attempt. Here comes Loveness, meanwhile. His Sector 1 split is in the low 22 seconds, so decent Sector 1 for him. Yellow flags behind Loveness. He'll pay no close attention to that. Ooh, a little bit hard into the curves through turn 9. Opens up that rear wing to carry as much a DRS advantage that he can. His Sector 2 split is a 52.727. Django's network is going to sabotage him today. So reckons Crash in the comment section. I definitely hope that it gets sorted out and that'll be fine because he's going to be fighting for his life at the front of the pack if he can qualify that high up. Here comes Loveness now. This is going to be his attempt to challenge these runners and guarantee his spot in Q3. Towards the line comes the Haas driver, 19.713, only good enough for P9, so he's not safe. One of the McLarens are making their way back to the pits at this point. Let's catch back up with Loveness's teammate, Tipiso. As Crash reckons that a 119 flat would get you through to Q3. That is the benchmark, reckons Crash. Tipiso looking to give his answer. 118.890 comfortably. P5 for him. Sigh of relief for the Haas driver. But he's going to face the fight of his life, as all of these drivers are going to be given an almighty push. Tabo T92 had invalidated on his previous push. He may have invalidated actually coming through the final chicane, which compromises this run. So he's going to have to go all the way around, will Tabo T92, while the likes of Django, Zotal, Seppo Temba have yet to begin their initial push laps. We'll catch up instead with this man who we haven't watched today, Seppo Temba. What can he do? How comfortable is he looking? He's got 8.5 minutes to stake his claim on a spot in Q3. It's so good seeing Seppo Temba in these initial quality sessions. He was, of course, so badly affected by load shedding, having to join races late, wide of the apex from turn 1. That compromised his entry into the second turn. But now trying to make amends through turn 3. I beg your pardon. Here he comes now hurtling towards that slower turn 4, touches the curves, possibly a little bit more than he would have wanted to, and I do wonder how much time that'll cost him relative to the top runners. Now making his way through towards turns number 7 and 8. It's not exactly as comfortable as some of the tries and the pushes that we've seen. A little bit of a twitch coming through 9, but he's still carrying as much pace as he possibly can. 52.556 at the Sector 2 split. Turn 10 is clean for Seppo Temba. Down to 4 through 11. And he went all the way down to 3 through turn 12, trying to carry as much minimum speed as possible. Ludi Seppo is impressed with Tipiso. He does have moments of brilliance. Oh, Seppo Temba at the death. At the end of his lap, it just came undone. So he's going to have to give it another push all the way from the beginning. Zotal is hunting down Smirch Django, who has yet to show us what he is made of in Q2. Gray skies out here in Spain. They'll all be hoping that the rain stays far, far away, as the likes of Caboza are not feeling too confident in this here race. Caboza, once again, playing it modest.
Caboza ethanda ukuzenza modest kanti uyazazi ukuthi uyavaya lo muntu. Uyavaya Caboza bengamnyathi.
Smirch Django's Sector 2 split was in the low 51 seconds, so a scorching lap by the Mercedes driver, the challenger to Ciclay's throne, absolutely heading it on his push lap here with 6.5 minutes of this qualifying session to go. Look how much speed he carries through that final corner. Towards the line comes Django. 118.228 is a scorching effort and marginally ahead of his teammate, who occupies that P2 spot as things currently stand. Zotal, meanwhile, crossed the line, 23.334, definitely not representative as far as he is concerned. Ban Kobe's best effort in Q2 is a 119.490, and it looks like he is giving it another push, because he knows that in P10 he's on the brink of getting knocked out of Q2. Remember, only the top 10 drivers go through to Q3, and that battle for pole position. Oh, Ban Kobe going completely wide on the exit of that corner, almost having a moment with Tabo T92, who was only on his outlap. So Ban Kobe not exactly looking too comfortable in this second quality session. He needs now to recover in the second and final sectors of this lap. It's a brand new set of stock compound tires for Ban Kobe, so he will not be happy with that. Oh, that turn 3 turned out, and he goes absolutely spinning, come out of turn 9. Ban Kobe, that car bounces around like a lowrider in the LBC of California. If you know, you know. Ban Kobe knows that he's going to have to give it an almighty push all the way around again. So coming unstuck on the exit of turn 9. Meanwhile, we've got a slow-moving Ikawako, a.k.a. D-Wax. He's following one of the Mercedes drivers. It might be Ciclay on his outlap. But is Ingalaiko, aka D-Wax, just jumping around a little bit here? Well, he may yet be, but it doesn't look like he's... it's definitely not a push lap. So P10 is basically Ingalaiko under pressure. Mex is coming back into the pits. Charlie 3 Stacks, Charlie 3000 says, Ban Kobe, we will be there, we will be there. Channeling the famous words of the soccer coach Pep Guardiola, saying we will be there. I don't know if Charlie 3 Stacks is cheering on Ban Kobe or if he's rejoicing at Ban Kobe's seeming struggles here in Q2. Here comes Tabo T92, surpassing a slow-moving Don Radical, who's currently on another outlap. Meanwhile, Seekley, the champion, has begun a second push lap. Tabo T92, oh, look at that. Look at how much speed he carried coming out of turn 9. So much better balance he had compared to Ban Kobe, who came unstuck out of turn 9. Turns 10 and 11 are clean for Tabo T92, who's looking on track to come out of Q2 fairly comfortably. He's going to need to be inch perfect on this final sequence of corners. He's looking okay as Tabo T92 towards the line, carrying all of that pace, and will cross the line P7, 119.084. Will that be enough? P7, he will not be feeling as safe as he would have wanted. Now, Seppo Temba is giving it a second push. We saw him make that huge error, pretty much coming out of the final corner. Gatsby Chiluani says the Silver Wars continues there in the top 2, absolutely, as Seekley fires another parting shot with the quickest time of the day thus far, 118.173 at the top of the pops. Seekley once again, stamping his authority on the team, showing Django that whatever you can do, I can do even better. Django fits a first set of the soft compound tires. Interesting qualification, says Key Music in the comment section. Absolutely, Teppo Temba is going to have his heart in his mouth because this is the corner that he shanked last time out, negating his lap, but not this time. Carrying all that pace, it's P8. Ooh, Teppo Temba will not feel too comfortable with that. Remember, only the top 10 go through. Everybody is giving it a final push, a final go. Even this man, Loveness. But it doesn't look like he's anywhere near his final push lap attempt. So instead, we will catch up with Zotal, who is bottom. He's currently getting knocked out as Don Radical breaches into the 1 minute 17th for the first time today. It's a 117.819 for the scorching hot Scarlet Red Ferrari driver, who is in imperious form towards the end of the second qualifying session. Don Radical is the standard today, 117.819, absolutely sensational. Malusi the Malusi is in the comment section, responding, trying to pick up his jaw from the floor because Don Radical has absolutely set the timing tower aflame here in Q2. Here comes Zotal, rushing towards turn 9. What in Q2? It's beautiful stuff, Liddy, in the comment section. Tepiso, I do wonder, my view is blocked of the track map. I'm not sure if Tepiso opted to retire in the pits, but it seems like, yes, he may have done so. Zotal, meanwhile, is now absolutely pushing. He's improving come the end of his second sector here. So he's possibly set to fight and scruff his way into Q3. But will it be enough? Final sequence of corners. It's Zotal, the pride of Alpine, across the line. It's going to be P4, 118.640. He, I think, should be safely through to Q3. Meanwhile, Lumpness is fighting for his life, but he's moving slowly, so he's definitely not pushing. Pan Kobe on the verge of getting knocked out of Q2 here. He's huffing and puffing, fighting for his life. Charlie 3 Stacks barely believing what is happening. Debo Croc can barely believe that Don Radical has the comfort, the patience, the level of ease to be dipping in and out of the comment section while putting in times like that. Ban Kobe on the final corner has an almighty spin, and he pretty much positions his car to get tucked back into the pit lane. Ban Kobe could not get it done, but the man who could at his final push is Mandla, who went from getting provisionally knocked out to P5, 118.568 under pressure. Mandla lays down an absolute gauntlet to the rest of the drivers who were fighting him for that knockout spot. And Tabo T92 is now the one fighting for his life. We will be there, says Charlie 3 Stacks, Charlie 3000, cheering the fact that Ban Kobe is struggling in Q2 here, and Seakley is comfortable enough to dip in and out of the commentary section as well. Talking about his fresh set of soft compound tires that he has going into Q3. Here comes Tabo T92. Can he make it? The pride of Red Bull. Can he make it just to have one Red Bull represented in the final quali session here? It has been a breathless qualifying to Spain. If you've just joined us, Django got into the 1 minute 17th as well. Notes Lydia in the comment section. Here goes Tabo T92, and he nails it at the deck. It's P10. Tabo T92 is pumping his fist in that RP18 because Loveness could not improve. And at the death, at the last second, last chance hurrah for Tabo T92, he makes it through to Q3 by the skin of his teeth.
Yes, pushing the top. Ebesingishubele naye phela ke seke kuphukela. Qabanga ama driver ngaka. Ama driver ngaka pick up abo Jengo nabo Don Rabiko. Mandayide ngayikho fe. Abo 117 labantu bayapusha.
Yes, Bayapusha, indeed, absolutely sending it. And Crash says, I told you that the benchmark was going to be that 119s. In that 119s, well, P10 is 118.937. We are here for a meal, says Charlie 3 Stacks, Charlie 3000 in the commentary section. Man, oh man, oh man, what a scorching Q2 we had over there. Don Radico is the quickest man by far, as he had his classic smirk in that gamer avatar. 117.819 is a scorching effort. Look at Django, 117.833. Oh, Seaclay's feeling confidence in the commentary box. He ranked third quickest from Mex in P4. What an effort by Mex, it must be said, even though he's 7/10 off the mark. Mandla, P5 in Q2. Zotal, P6. Donovan Laka makes it a double team for Team Ferrari, P7. Tepiso, 8th. Caboza, 9th. Tabo T92 is the 10th and final driver through to Q3. And Gawako sadly knocked out of this second quali session, as was Ban Kobe and the likes of Loveness as well. Man, oh man, oh man, if you've just joined us, you're in time for the third and final qualifying session of this Spanish Grand Prix. Remember to like the stream if you haven't as yet. I am absolutely salivating for what should be an absolutely scorching Q3 here. It's the shootout for pole position. I want to hear your predictions. Who is starting on the front row? Who is starting on the second row? Ha! Man, two drivers breaching that 1 minute 17-second barrier. That being, of course, Don Rabico and Smirts Django. The pace setters here today, as it looks like Caboza is going to be the first man to come out on track.
Acho Charlie 3 Stacks by again bapheke. Let them cook. Let them cook. Hey, uyavutha umkhodu la Spain jo. Hey, uyavutha.
Yes, Magodu is absolutely cooking. Don Rabico once again. Look at that. He says, time to take off the sandbags. Don Rabico is an absolute character. He's been lighting up the timing sheets talking about sandbags with that 117.1. Oh, man. What does he have in the bag? What is he cooking?
Abantu baphekani. Don Rabico nalomkhodu wakhe angazi ukuthi uphekani. Unokumkhodu lapha ku Ferrari.
Bayapaka, indeed. Wagyu Magodu, says Liddy in the comment section. Caboza under pressure. He's always modest, is Caboza, as far as his prospects are concerned. But when it's time to turn up the wick, turn up the pressure, turn up the heat, well, he's got a knack for doing that. Sometimes he's had qualies where it didn't go according to his will, but he somehow managed to play a proverbial or a rabbit out the hat, so to speak, and do something absolutely sensational. Now, Caboza and Mex, his teammate Mex is significantly further behind Caboza, so we will see how the likes of the three-time defending champion Sikle will fare with just under 10 minutes of this qualifying session to go. This is what the champion's initial push lap will look like. His teammate is in the pits, is just happy just to have a watching brief as the champion is on the limit coming through the initial sequence of corners. His Sector 1 split is a 22.200. Zotal found his form this season. I'm proud of him, says Charlie 3 Stacks. Well, Zotal would be proud of the efforts that he's put in thus far. Someone who would be proud of his season thus far, but of course is looking for more, is this man, Sikle, who comes now through turns 7 and 8 without incident. Look at the limit that he's absolutely happy to be toying with. He is absolutely on it. It is the three-time defending champion Sector 2 split of a 51.810 on a brand spanking new set of soft compound tires. Here comes Sikle to lay down the early benchmark, the early gauntlet. Capoza is going to cross the line. 118.461 is the first the representative laps that we have. There's a Ferrari ahead of Sikle. It's Donathan Laka who does not yet set a time. Sikle sets a 17.969 as his initial push attempt. Here comes Mandla towards the line. No, it's only his initial push lap attempt. Zotal goes 118.865 on his initial attempt. Donathan Laka to the line. 117.795 is a scorching effort by Donathan Laka here today. He goes into that provisional P1. Tabo T92 is due across the line now. It's not representative. Someone spun as I was toggling through there. Was it Mandla? But he's already got his back lap. Or does he? No. Mandla spun out in Q1 here, so he's going to have to go all the way around. It's not representative. Now, let's hop on board with Don Rabico, the man who has pretty much come to the top tier of Breakaway League racing and set it alight. People calling for investigations, people barely believing. Donathan Laka's effort, what a sensational initial push by Donathan Laka. We're now watching Don Rabico, who says the sandbags are off. Like Rock Lee in the fight versus Guerra in the tuning exams, he has taken off the weight, and here he comes towards the line, 17.867. He is not quicker than his teammates. It's a Ferrari 1-2 provisionally, but Donathan Laka is the story of the day because in his initial push lap, he is the standard in Q3. Less than 7 minutes of qualifying to go.
Let them cook. Let them cook.
So says Charlie 3 Stacks, Charlie 3000 in the comment section. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Smirch Tango's Sector 1 split is a 22.3. 51.6 is his Sector 2 split. It's marginally quicker than his teammate as things look. So Smirch Tango is going to lay down another challenge possibly towards his teammate. Ooh, was that a little bit of a slide, I wonder? He's keeping it together in the final sequence of corners here. He carries so much speed. Gear 6, Gear 7 across the line. Smirch Tango will come with a 17.595. It's the new benchmark in Q3. What will they have in response? Smirch Tango breathes a sigh, a huge exhale, knowing that he has just absolutely set the timing sheets alight here. Meanwhile, Tepiso is giving it a go. What a day for him. What an effort. He's the only half driver represented in Q3. Here he comes now through turn 9, looking absolutely comfortable. What a day for him. It could be a solid quality session. 52.237 just as he navigates turns 10 and 11. It's a fifth gear through 11, it must be said. What'll it be now? Into the final sequence of corners. Tepiso trying to lay down his own marker, trying to make his own headline in what would be a beautiful Q3 result if he can find himself into the top 5. But let me not speak too soon. Across the final sequences of corners, it's Tepiso. It's P7 for the hash driver, 118.616. Man, oh man, oh man. A breathless start to the third and final qualifying session. We have 5 minutes of this here session to go. They call the champ out like this? Asks Charlie Three Stacks. Peace says, are we sure that Django is not part of the top 1%? Well, Django is top of the pops. I'll tell you what. Tindo says it is absolutely tough out there. It's so difficult to make your mark on this top tier of Breakaway Racing League. It gets tougher and tougher with each and every season, and I'll tell you what, we have got something very close to a pretty much full representation of the grid here in Tier 1. And, well, we've had a beautiful quali session, and I cannot wait to see what we have in store for us in the race proper. Here comes Zotal into turn 1. A little bit hard onto the curves there, but he's just using all of those track limits. 6th gear through turn 3. Full throttle up to 7th. Will he go up to the highest gear before the braking zone? The answer is no. Down to gear 5. He's improved by a 10th come the end of his Sector 1 split. So a 1/10 improvement would barely see him challenging the likes of Tapiso. He needs to gain a lot more in Sectors 2 and 3. But an improvement is a good start for Zotal. Turn 7 and 8. Clean for the Alpine driver. Now towards 9. Trying to carry all of that speed while not invalidating. It's a clean exit out of 9. All of that speed translates to a 52.1 and a 2.2 improvement by the time he gets to the end of his second sector. So Zotal looking very, very good. He may yet leapfrog Tapiso here if the Haas driver will not improve before the end of this year's session. Here comes Zotal on his challenge towards the end of this session. Alpine, the hope of Alpine, his teammate, will take part in the race. It's Zotal towards the line. Provisional P6, 118.400 is Zotal improves to leapfrog even Capoza. Man, oh man, oh man. Meanwhile, the man who has grabbed all the headlines today is currently on his, what we can assume will be his final push lap attempt. He is actually even behind the likes of Mandla. We're going to catch up with Mandla to see how he fares after we see this split. Donovan Laka improves by 7/100ths of a second. What a qualifying session he is having up until this point. Let's hop on now to Mandla, who is way further ahead in his attempt to improve here. But sadly, no, it's not. Mandla is struggling, and Mandla is spinning all the way at the back there. So let's hop back with Donovan Laka, who is having no such issues through his second sector. He will pass the slow-moving Mandla soon. His Sector 2 split means he is improving by more than 1/10 of a second. Is Donovan Laka. Absolutely sensational quality from the rookie driver in the top tier of Breakaway League Racing. What a season he is having. He is set for what would be a sensational result in the final part of qualifying here. But remember, it's not all said and done. Can he keep it together towards the end here, carrying all that speed towards the line? It's Donovan Laka. In the end, as Sector 3 came undone, he was not able to improve, but a 17.795 is not to be scoffed at, folks. It is an absolutely beautiful quali by the Ferrari driver. Now, Tabo T92 is making his way towards the line to actually begin his push lap, so we're going to try instead to catch up with someone who is already on their push lap. It doesn't look like anyone is on the verge there. So we will watch instead to see how Cicle fares, because he will be the first of the last of the fast runners to give a final push lap a go. Behind Cicle is Don Radical, who is not even within sight as Cicle breaks all the way down to gear 5. A little bit wide exit. Come on, turn 2. Oh, he's onto the grass. How much time will that cost him? Cicle, uncharacteristic, rare error. Rare error for Cicle. And right now, provisional pole is held by Django. Donovan Laka, Don Radical, still ahead of the champion, who has managed to find a little bit of improvement. There's a slow-moving McLaren. Is that Capoza? Yes, it is. Capoza is pretty much out of improving his prospects. He is now off track completely. Let us see now how Cicle navigates turn 9, having made that earlier mistake. He's trying to make up, of course, for that earlier error. His Sector 2 split is 3/10 down. So Seaclay definitely not improving here. He's down as the champion. He might just have to settle with the P4 minimum here because he has not managed to improve on that effort. So sadly for the champion, I doubt, of course, that he would be able to challenge Django at this point, but he's going to give it a push. He's going to give it a go. He improves. Wow, his Sector 3 was absolutely sensational. Don Ravico has improved just by 2/100ths of a second towards the line. Don Ravico is ahead of Smirch Django by just 5/1000ths of a second at the death at the end of Q3. Don Ravico, what a scorching effort. Meanwhile, Smirch Django has improved by 4/1000ths of a second. But will it be enough? Come towards the line. It's Django versus Ravico towards the end. Little bit of a moment with the grass. Don Django towards the line. And he is pole position at the death. Django is in pole position at the death, and the margins are absolutely minuscule. Man, oh man, oh man. 9/1000ths of a second separates P1 and P2. But Smirch Django will start in the front of the grid. Breathless stuff in the top tier Breakaway League racing. Don Ravico, look at that. So close. Look at that gap. Just 9/1000ths of a second between these guys. Donathan Laka, 2/10ths off. Seaclay will start in the second row, just behind Donathan Laka. Mex P5, Zotal 6, Caboza 7, Cepiso 8, Tabo T92, and Mandla round off your top 10. Man, oh man, oh man. Django Stappen says Gatsby. WTF says Kid K, barely believing what is happening. Seaclay lamenting the downshifts, which are really not responsive, haven't been responsive on this year track in this version. So Seaclay's downshifts costing him precious tenths of a second. Liddy says technical errors crash. You see how it happens. So sensational. End to Q3 here. And Tindo says Django is in the area. He's in the pole position area, channeling TKZ. It's not quite the 18 area, but it's in the 9/1000th of a second area. It's clear skies out here in Spain. If you've just joined us, welcome to the top tier of Breakaway League Racing. Remember to like the stream if you haven't already. Like the stream, subscribe to our channel. We have got some sensational racing in prospect for you. Scripto Titan, aka Galalet Sang, aka the 86er says Seaclay improved by 4/10ths in the last sector. If only he held it together in those first two. Django Ravico are definitely putting on the pressure. Absolutely. We have 30 seconds, and then we will be going racing at the Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya. Welcome to Spain. Tabang Imaguni says Django, cheering on Django, or fire emojis for Django. No guts, no glory. Let's go Ferrari. What a day for Ferrari, it really must be said. Donathan Laka with a Hall of Fame qualifying performance. For him in such a stacked field, really it can't be discounted. What a beautiful effort Donathan Laka put in here today. As we look to get you all the tire info details that you would need. Look at that! Hard tire race start for the two Mercedes drivers. Man, oh man, oh man. Of course, Django will be under attack at the start of this race. The two Ferraris chasing him are on the softer, the quicker, medium compound tires. He will be under an insane amount of pressure. Seaclay also going on those hards. I do wonder if Django took a look on the other side of the garage and he just thought, you know what? I'm not going to allow Seaclay to perhaps get an overcut. I'm not going to allow Seaclay to dictate anything that would give him an advantage. I'm going to do exactly what he does. But Django is not putting himself in a prime position to fight off those two Ferraris behind him. Mex is on mediums, as is Zotal, running in that sixth spot. And Caboza also going long on those hards in P7. And then it's a medium party. Josh is starting on the softs. Oh, Josh, a.k.a. Damnesia, rolling the dice here. He's starting on soft compound tires. Espuda in P16 is also on those hards, and Nebo is following suit as well. Fensei will start on the mediums in P17. What a beautiful near full grid we have here. 18 drivers are all set and ready to go, and Nebo fighting for Team Alpine, flying that metallic blue flag very, very high. He's going to start at the back of the pack, P18 for him. We've spoken about the kind of pressure that this man is under. Van Kobe, bottom of the championship standings, just 4 points. Remember, Van Kobe's battle, as far as the standings are concerned, is with Damnesia, Esbuda, and Nebo, who are in P19, P18, P17, respectively. So Van Kobe wants to just find himself back in the reckoning for the playoff places. Welcome to the top tier of Breakaway League Racing. It's 5 lights. It's the only time South Africans look forward to the lights going out. We are racing in Spain. Cicle, what can he do on his attempt to fight back? The answer is lose a place to Max, who is now at the P4. Cicle has lost 2 positions, as now Don Ravico is fighting with Smirch Django in the run towards turn 1. It's a Ferrari 2 and 3. Django hangs on to the lead of this race. His teammates is fighting for his life, breathing through the wound. He's lost 2 places as the champion Cicle, down to P6, while Zotal has also lost a place. Zotal's restarts costing him again at the start of another race. Look at the start now. Looks like Fensei has had a huge spin, bringing out the yellow flag. Thankfully, he is back and he's running. No early safety cars now. We are still pushing, still running, as Cicle is now going to have to fight his way from behind both of the McLarens as they now make their way past turn 8. Smirch Django in firm control, command of the race lead, and he now goes down the back straight. This is the vantage point from the 3-time champion, losing 2 places. Oh, he breaks later than Caboza, almost going to the back of the McLaren driver there. Caboza is just trying to keep Cicle at bay. He's not exactly pushing. Zotal better not finish P7. Zotal, so says Key Music, Zotal has lost that place, you would remember. It must be said that Teppo Temba is also one of the big movers, dropping 3 places. Cepiso, after a beautiful qualifying session, has lost 9 places. He's at the back of the pack, and he's off track now in Sector 3. Is the Haas driver. Ngawako D-Wax into the pits. He may have had an early collision now. Ngawako compromised now as we watch Zotal come into turn 1. Hunting down the back of that Mercedes is the Alpine driver. Meanwhile, at the top of the standings, Don Ravico on those medium tires is still within half a second of Django, who by now, I'm sure, will have warmed up those hard compound tires, but will have the fight of his life to keep the likes of Don Ravico at bay. As the likes of the 86er have mentioned, Don Ravico is very difficult to pass, and he's very difficult to keep at bay if he's hunting you. So Django versus Don Ravico is the early story of the day, but word of recognition to Donovan Lacka, who managed to fight off or fend off the likes of Cicle, who has now been overtaken by the McLaren duo of Mex and Caboza. Beautiful shot that we got from the back of Donovan Lacka's Ferrari. We're now watching these cars settle into an early rhythm. Cicle in unfamiliar territory, says Liddy in the comment section. Peace, I think, mentioned earlier that it was, well, quite strange seeing the champion anywhere far away from the top 2 positions. Django goes quickest, but of course that fast lap quickly snapped up by Donovan Lacka, who tucks into the slipstream of his teammate. We are lap 3 now, which means the stewards have given the word that DRS has been enabled. And I do wonder how many DRS trains we will find in Prospect. We saw so many of those in Tier 2 last time out. Meanwhile, Josh trying to overtake Tablo T92 on the outside of the turn 3 comes completely unstuck and goes off track. and now he has to fight his way all the way down, possibly from P15. Oh, Josh, aka Damnesia, super aggressive, super interesting tire strategy. Started on the soft, is now going to have to fight for his life. Mandla and Level are having a huge squabble. Mandla gets a clean exit, but not enough to challenge Level. These two running in P11 and 12 respectively. Mandla trying to keep Seppo Temba at bay. Charlie 3 Stacks saying, Josh, that was not the best overtaking decisions you could have taken over there. Absolutely would agree with that. Mandla later on the brakes compared to Neville, who has done well to come up to P11, considering that he did start all the way in P18. So the Alpine driver looking good. Mandla on the inside. It's a beautiful overtake. And now he's up to P11. Sensational stuff from the Alfa Romeo driver as he now navigates the final sequences of corners to begin what will be his fourth lap of the race. Now back towards the race lead. Don Ravico is on the outside of Switch Django, and Don Ravico is in the lead of this race. Django has to concede and settle for P2 on those hard compound tires. Jonathan Lacka, can you follow suit and follow your teammate past the Mercedes W13? Well, we will see. Django, I do wonder if you'll fight it immediately or if you'll just be happy to stay tucked into the DRS of the Ferrari. Meanwhile, Cicle had overtaken Caboza in his fight back to find his way back into the reckoning for the battle for the lead of this race. What a pass by Mandla, says Bungani, aka Debo Croc, in the comment section. Absolutely, it was beautiful stuff by the Alfa Romeo driver. Here comes Jonathan Lacka, looking to take a leap out of his teammate's book. Jonathan Lacka, his battery management has been superb, barely using his battery. He's still pretty much got a full battery to use here. So Don is just happy to use his DRS advantage to make sure that he stays tucked in the coattails of Django. And when the opportunity knocks, Jonathan Lacka will be the danger that passes Django into that P2 spot. But long way still to go. Loses a little bit of ground coming out of the final sequence of corners. It's Jonathan Lacka. Is he on the attack? No, he's just happy to stay tucked on into the slipstream. Meanwhile, Cicle is not going to be so patient. Now coming into turn one, he's hunting down the second of those two McLarens. And he is not exactly close enough to get that move done at that particular corner. So the champion trying to find his way back into those leading positions. Mix is really peddling water. So reckons Charlie 3 Stacks. Charlie 3000. He's under pressure. Is Mex going to need to keep a cool head here? Because Cicle will pile on the pressure up until the McLaren cracks under said pressure. Meanwhile, Caboza has already been dispatched by Zotal, so Caboza not having the best of days. Tumbling down the order, Caboza losing 2 positions. Tabo T92 and Loveness have passed Caboza on a previous part of the track. It looks like Caboza may have even brought out the yellow flag because he's tumbling down the order here as we watch Cicle's attempt to get this overtake done. And as Mex holds off the champion here, that gap between the likes of Mex and Jonathan Lacka is really building and building. Now 1.7 seconds. So Cicle just wants to get this over and done with. He goes for the switcheroo onto the inside of the McLaren, and he goes attack mode. He's on the inside, they're wheel to wheel, and the champion is now up to P4. But is Mex gonna let it go without a fight? It's Tuesday action night. No, he doesn't. He tucks right into the coattails of the Mercedes driver over there, and now Mex is going to be content to stay in that P5 spot. Zotal doing well to recover. He did lose a couple of positions, but now he's up to P6, hunting down the McLaren of Mex. So Mex better not be careful to fall down the pecking order as his teammate did earlier on. Loveness is currently running about 3.8 seconds behind Zotal. Tabo T92 a further 2.9 seconds behind the Haas driver. Mandla Romeo P9 about 0.8 of a second behind Tabo T92. So within touching distance is Mandla trying to fight back as much as he possibly can. Seppo Temba 1.1 seconds behind the Alfa Romeo. Caboza tumbling, slipping and sliding down the order. P11 for him. And level 12 as Buddha running in P13. Josh Damnesia went aggressive, but it did not pay off. He had those mistakes which cost him. He has yet to pit, remember, and he's running those soft tires, which by now I'm sure would be screaming. Tapiso 15th, and Ingawako sadly has been dipping in and out of this session, possibly network issues. Bankobi 16th, and Fensei is running in P18 on those fresher soft compound tires. Don Rabico has managed to eke out a little bit of an advantage now. Look at that gap, almost 2 seconds. And Django now is fighting to stay within 2 seconds of the... Oh no, Django's fighting for his life here. Top 4 can be a bit of a mismatch. So says Crash in the comment section. Bad Kobe. We've lost Josh, aka Damnesia, bringing out the safety car here, folks. So sadly, the safety car, Josh is the first driver to crash out. Don Radical is still in the lead here. And Smirch Django is trying as much as he possibly can to stay within touching distance. But he is really going to have the fight of his life here. Django started on the hard tires. Advantage Mercs, some of you said in the comment section. Which of the leaders, or which of the leading pack will opt to come into the pits here? I do wonder.